Welcome to the Canadian Charity Law Podcast, where we tackle the sometimes head-scratching world of charity law in Canada, so you can focus on the heartwarming stuff. Brought to you by the bright minds at B.I.G Charity Law Group, the charity lawyers who believe navigating regulations shouldn't feel like a complicated puzzle. We'll shine a light on everything from getting registered to smart fundraising and happy governance. Whether you're just starting out, looking to start a charity, nonprofit, or foundation, or looking to level up your charity game, we're here to bring clarity and maybe a chuckle or two. Ready to make an impact without the legal headaches? Let's jump in.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a role play.
Okay, I'm in.
So I want you to imagine that you are a genuinely good person. Yeah. You've got a heart of gold, you want to help people, and you have this brilliant idea for a health charity. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to cure headaches with, I don't know, crystal therapy, or maybe distribute special vitamins. You file your paperwork with the Canada Revenue Agency, the CRA, and you're expecting like a high five and a tax number.
But instead, you get a rejection letter. And it's not just a polite no thank you. It's a detailed breakdown of why your good intention just isn't legally enough.
Exactly. It turns out when it comes to health charities in Canada, the CRA acts less like a rubber stamp and, well, more like a really rigorous scientific review board.
It really does.
We're looking at this fascinating guide today. It's called A Guide to CRA Health Charity Registration Requirements by Dov Goldberg from Charity Law Group.
And it's a great source because it really highlights the gap between, our everyday definition of health, which is often about feeling good, about wellness, and the legal one.
Which is much stricter.
Much stricter. It's all about efficacy, safety, and real public benefit.
So we're not just talking about tax forms here. We're digging into the whole philosophy of what health even means in the eyes of the law. We're going to unpack the 8 specific hurdles that trip people up.
And the mission here is really to understand why that bar is set so incredibly high.
It is a high bar.
It is. But as we go through these 8 reasons, you'll start to see it's almost always about public safety. Mm-hmm. It's making sure that the word charity actually means something you can trust.
Okay, so let's get into it. Imagine I've got my application ready. I'm standing outside the CRA with my dream of a crystal therapy for migraine center.
Right.
And I truly believe it works. I saw it work on my aunt. What's the first huge wall I'm going to hit?
The first and arguably the toughest hurdle is what they call the effectiveness requirement. This is where your dream crashes right into the hard wall of evidence. The CRA requires that your service or product demonstrably, and that's the key word, prevents or relieves a physical or mental health condition.
Okay, but my aunt feels better. Isn't that demonstrable?
Yeah, well, no. Unfortunately, in the eyes of the CRA, an anecdote is not data. Simply offering a service isn't enough. You have to prove it actually works, and you have to use objective standards.
So I can't just say, trust me, the vibes are good.
Absolutely not. They demand objective proof. Now look, if your service is something standard, something already covered under the Canada Health Act.
Like setting a broken leg.
Exactly, or an appendectomy.
Yeah.
You're fine. The medical consensus is already there.
But crystals are definitely not in the Canada Health Act.
Exactly right. So if you're proposing a treatment that's outside that standard medical system, you have a lot of homework to do.
A lot of homework.
The guide is specific. You need to show clinical evidence. We're talking recognition from Health Canada or provincial health authorities or the Canadian Medical Association.
Wow, that sounds intense. What if I don't have the CMA on speed dial? What if this is, a new emerging therapy?
Then you face a very specific and frankly very difficult requirement.
Yeah.
You need written confirmation from at least 3 specialized physicians.
3? That's so specific.
It is. And the guide points out a nuance here that kills a lot of applications. They can't just be any doctors. They have to be specialists in the relevant field.
Oh, wow.
So for your migraine crystal therapy, you can't just get your family dentist to sign off. You would need 3 board-certified neurologists to put their professional reputations on the line.
Which, let's be honest, for crystal therapy that's going to be impossible.
Precisely. And that's the filter. The CRA isn't saying positive thinking is bad. They're just saying it doesn't meet the legal threshold for a health charity that's subsidized by our tax dollars.
Okay, let's pivot. I've scrapped the crystals. I see the writing on the wall.
Good call.
Now I have a real medical treatment. It's proven it works. But I want to save some money on staffing, so I hire my neighbor, Dave, Dave's a great guy, very enthusiastic. He's never been to medical school, but he's watched a lot of YouTube videos about back adjustments.
And right there, that brings us to reason number 2 for rejection: quality and safety of providers.
Poor Dave.
This is a huge one. The CRA doesn't just care what you do, they care a lot about who is doing it.
So what's the specific rule?
The rule is that the charity has to ensure services are delivered by competent people. If the profession is regulated, like a doctor, nurse, physiotherapist, the person must be licensed with the proper professional body here in Canada.
That makes perfect sense. You don't want unlicensed surgeons running around.
Of course not.
But what about that gray area, like complementary medicine or alternative therapies that might not have a strict college of physicians?
That's where it gets really interesting and where a lot of well-meaning charities fail. If it's unregulated, you can't just wing it. The charity itself has to step up and act almost like a regulator.
So the charity has to prove that Dave actually knows what he's doing.
Yes. You need to provide objective evidence that your practitioners have reasonable skill and knowledge. You need protocols to mitigate risk. You can't just have Dave doing adjustments in his garage.
Right.
It's all about public safety. If you're a registered charity, the public assumes a certain level of trust. If your providers aren't qualified, you're breaking that trust.
So Dave is fired. Sorry, Dave. I'm hiring licensed professionals. Now let's talk about stuff. Physical things. Let's say I want to start a charity that hands out this amazing new vitamin blend I cooked up. It's got turmeric, ginger, and, I don't know, gold flakes.
Gold flakes.
It makes it feel premium. I call it health in a box.
Well, you're going to run into reason number 3, product quality and safety.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me the CRA doesn't like my kitchen sink vitamins.
They do not. If you're distributing health products, drugs, devices, natural products, they must meet really stringent quality requirements.
Yeah.
The guide is crystal clear on this. Generally, you need a DIN, a drug identification number, or an NPN, a natural product number.
So everything has to be registered with Health Canada?
Ideally, yes. The CRA will check those databases. If your product isn't listed on the drug product database or the licensed natural health products database, your application is pretty much dead in the water.
That seems fair for people in Canada. But what about this scenario I see a lot? What if my charity is collecting unused medicine to ship to a developing country? You know, it's better than nothing, right?
That is a dangerous assumption, and the CRA explicitly rejects it. This is a crucial point in the guide about international work. You can't just dump subpar medicine on other countries because it's charity.
So I can't just bypass the safety rules because the product is leaving the country?
No. If you're distributing internationally, the products have to comply with World Health Organization guidelines or other recognized international standards. It's about protecting Canada's reputation, sure, but more importantly, it's about protecting vulnerable people from getting expired or dangerous stuff.
That is a really good reality check. Just because it's free doesn't mean it can be garbage.
Precisely. It's about ethical consistency.
Okay, let's move on to what I'm calling the vibe check. Because I feel like a lot of people want to start charities that just make people feel good. You know, the foundation for generally good vibes. We promote wellness. We promote happiness.
And that leads us straight to reason number 4. Benefit to, indirect or remote.
Remote sounds like I'm running the charity from a deserted island.
In legal terms, remote means the connection between what you do and the actual health benefit is too stretched. The CRA rejects applications where the benefit is, speculative, intangible, or depends on too many other factors.
So general wellness is a trap.
It's a huge trap. Promoting quality of life on its own isn't enough unless it directly addresses a specific condition. The benefit has to be a necessary and reasonably direct result of what you're doing.
Can you give me an example of something that sounds healthy but would fail this test?
Sure. Let's take community gardening.
Wait, I love community gardening. Fresh air, vegetables, exercise.
Yeah.
That has to be healthy.
It is healthy. But is it medicine? The CRA might argue the health benefit is too indirect. Is the gardening actually curing a disease? Or is it just a nice hobby that happens to be good for you?
I see.
Unless you can prove it effectively treats a specific condition like, say, a therapeutic horticulture program for veterans with PTSD with clinical oversight, a general gardening for health program is probably too vague.
It's the difference between this might help generally and this treats X specifically.
Exactly. The courts have consistently rejected charitable status for assumed benefits that are vague, intangible, and remote. They want concrete results, a straight line, not a wavy one.
Okay, speaking of results, let's talk appearances. I want to start a charity that pays for plastic surgery.
Stop right there. This is reason number 5. Cosmetic versus medical necessity.
But wait, I'm not talking about just anyone. I'm talking about helping people feel confident.
Confidence is great, but under charity law, there is a very strict line between medical necessity and lifestyle choices. Services provided purely for cosmetic or lifestyle reasons just do not qualify.
So a nose job to look better is out.
Completely out. That's an elective enhancement. But, and this is the key, if that surgery is reconstructive after a car accident or to treat a congenital abnormality, then it is charitable.
So the procedure itself could be the exact same surgery, a rhinoplasty, but the reason for it determines everything.
That's it. It all comes down to medical necessity. Are you treating a condition or are you just enhancing an appearance? The CRA is very strict on that.
That makes sense. It prevents a charity for better selfies.
Which I'm sure someone has tried to start.
Oh, absolutely. Now let's get into the structure of the charity itself. Who actually benefits? Because I've got this idea for a clinic, beautiful, state-of-the-art, but it only treats my family and maybe my best friend, Steve.
Well, tell Steve he's out of luck. This triggers reason number 6, insufficient public benefit.
But I'm helping people. My family are people. Steve is people.
True, but a charity has to serve the public, or at least a sufficient section of the public. You can't arbitrarily restrict who gets the help. It's called the public benefit test.
So I can't put up a sign that says, no weirdos allowed.
You definitely cannot. While some restrictions are okay, like a charity for people with a specific disease or for veterans, those restrictions are justified by the purpose. Only my friends is arbitrary. It turns the charity into a private club.
What about money? Let's say I open the clinic to the public, no restrictions, but I pay myself a salary of $5 million a year to run it.
And that falls under the private benefit issue.
Yeah.
A charity can't just be a funnel to enrich the people who are running it. You can't pay directors or staff way above market rates. If the CRA sees the primary beneficiary is the director's bank account, not the public, they will shut it down.
Seems like they're really looking for hidden motives.
They have to. The tax benefits are significant. They have to ensure that money is actually going to the public good.
Okay, let's talk about the internet. Everyone's a health expert online these days. I want to start a charity called the Info Hub. All we do is copy-paste articles from WebMD onto our site to, raise awareness.
Raising awareness. The classic buzzword. This brings us to reason number 7. Information dissemination that doesn't further charitable purposes.
But knowledge is power.
Knowledge is only charitable if it meets 3 very specific criteria. Simply reposting info doesn't really add value.
Okay, what are the 3 criteria?
First, the content has to be detailed and factual. No fear-mongering. Second, it has to be targeted at an audience that can actually act on it.
And the third?
And this is the big one. It has to be actionable.
Actionable. Unpack that for us.
It means the information has to enable the public to do something to improve their health. It can't just be, did you know heart disease is bad? It has to be, here are the specific evidence-based steps you can take. Dietary changes, screening schedules to manage your heart health.
So vague awareness campaigns don't count?
No. If you just put a billboard saying cancer exists, that's not charitable in the eyes of the CRA. You're not enabling a health outcome. You're just stating facts. The information have to be a tool.
It's the difference between a billboard and a handbook. One just yells at you, the other helps you.
That's a great way to put it.
All right, we're down to the final reason. Reason number 8. And this one sounds a bit bureaucratic. Professional interests.
It sounds dry, but it's actually pretty spicy. This is all about telling the difference between a charity and like a trade union or a lobby group.
Give me the scenario.
Imagine a group that calls itself a charity, but its main activity is holding networking events for dentists or lobbying the government to increase fees for chiropractors.
I mean, dentists need friends too.
They do, but that's what a professional association is for, not a charity. The distinction is crucial. Is the organization there to protect the public, or is it there to promote the profession?
So if the primary goal is to make the doctors more money,
then it fails. If the organization exists to market its practitioners or increase their business, it's serving a private interest, the interest of the professionals, not the public.
But there must be some overlap, right? Doctors doing a good job is good for the public.
There is, and that's where it gets tricky. A regulatory body that protects the public by maintaining standards can be charitable. But if that balance tips too far toward networking and member benefits, the CRA will say, sorry, you're a business league, not a charity.
It really all comes back to that central question, doesn't it? Who is this actually for?
Exactly. Is the value flowing out to the patient, or is it flowing up to the provider? The focus has to be on the public's health.
So let's zoom out. We've covered effectiveness, providers, products, direct benefits, medical necessity, public benefit, actionable info, and professional interests. That is a minefield.
It is a minefield, but think about it from the donor's perspective. When you give money to a health charity, what are you assuming?
I'm assuming my money is going to help someone get better using safe medicine administered by someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Precisely. The CRA isn't trying to stop good deeds. They are acting as the gatekeepers of trust. They're ensuring that the label registered charity actually carries weight. It implies safety, validity, and real public service.
It protects the brand of charity itself.
It does, but...
Oh, I hear a but coming. This is where it gets interesting.
Well, looking at all these rules, especially that effectiveness one, remember the rule about needing 3 specialized physicians or established clinical guidelines?
Yeah, the thesis defense requirement.
It does raise an important question about innovation. If the bar for proven effectiveness is that high, does this system make it too difficult for new, emerging health solutions to ever get charitable funding?
That's a fantastic point, because innovation usually starts with one crazy idea that everyone else thinks is wrong. If you need consensus to be a charity, how do you fund those fringe ideas that might just become the next breakthrough?
Exactly. You might have something that works, but you just don't have the paperwork yet. So where is the line between protecting the public from snake oil and stifling innovation that could save lives?
A real tension there.
It is. And the CRA leans heavily towards safety, which means a lot of new experimental ideas have to find funding elsewhere. Private investors, research grants, until they can prove themselves.
That is something I had not thought about. We want safety, but we also want progress. And sometimes those two things are in conflict.
A real tension.
Well, after this, I certainly have a new appreciation for the charities that do have that registration number. They have run quite the gauntlet to get it.
They really have. They've proven they work, they're safe, and they are truly for the public.
So next time you see a health charity, remember, they didn't just have a good heart. They had good lawyers, good doctors, and a mountain of paperwork. Thanks for diving in with us.
Stay curious and stay healthy.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.
Thanks for spending some quality time with the Canadian Charity Law Podcast. Brought to you with a smile by the team at B.I.G Charity Law Group. We're genuinely excited about the amazing work you do and are here to make the legal side of things a breeze, or at least a gentle breeze. If you're looking for legal guidance that's both insightful and approachable, swing by CharityLawGroup.ca. Discover how our positive attitude and deep knowledge can help your organization thrive and make an even bigger difference. Don't let legalities dim your charitable sparkle. Connect with the cheerful experts at B.I.G Charity Law Group at CharityLawGroup.ca. We promise it won't be taxing. See you next time.